The god of time, I say, as I'm suddenly filled with uncontrollable hatred just by uttering his name. Is he watching us right now? I mean, it's the uncontrollable rage, hatred that he's feeling. It feels like it's been projected onto him, because he usually doesn't get into like a super hateful stance, like almost never. But okay. No, Arka says he can't just stay materialized in our world for as long as he wants. That would waste too much energy. That is why he usually only comes in at the very beginning and at the end, unless it's absolutely necessary for him to personally intervene in the middle of a ritual. Otherwise, he mostly just stay in the magical plane and wait patiently for the rituals to gather energy for him. But how do these rituals help him, I say? What is it about these trials that give him so much power? He's gathering energy from your negative emotions, Araka says. Hatred, anger, fear, despair, that kind of stuff. Those are the type of emotions that can be exploited in the most efficient way through these methods, but he can't really do any of that without linking himself directly to the Magium during the time Weaver's prophecies. So he needs to squeeze as much as he can out of you guys while he still has the chance. That's why these trials are designed the way they are, to make sure they trigger as many strong negative emotions out of you as they can. I'm not sure if I like where this is going, I say. Just what kind of messed up trial is this guy trying to put Kate through if he needed to send her all the way back to her years in the bacon? We will both see in a few seconds, Araka says. I never actually looked at this ritual before I came here with you, so we'll both be experiencing this for the first time together. I'm sure it will be fun. Let us begin. We both disappear from the corridors with all the screaming, and we reappear in a dark empty room where an 11-year-old version of Kate seems to be talking with what I'm assuming is a 12-year-old version of her friend Diane. Kate is easy to recognize because she just looks very like a smaller version of her usual self. But Diane has long blonde hair and has much more frail physique than she had in her adult form, so it's a bit more difficult for me to tell if it's really her or not. They're both dressed in rags. The room we are in resembles my old holding cell from the arena, with one bed and a small window. On top of that, I'm guessing window on the top. So I'm guessing that they are most likely in Diane's room. The kid decided to pay her a visit in order to tell her something that she knows about the future. I didn't manage to make her thoughts audible, so we're going to have to work with what we have, Araka says. Let's see where this goes. I'm telling you, it's not the test of loyalty, Kate tells Diane while whispering in order to make sure the guards outside don't hear him. I know that it's hard to believe, but I come from the future and I know that the Lasethi caretaker who's trying to help us escape will become Layla's adopted father later on. I know that he can be trusted. Layla, Diane whispers back. You mean the Lasethi girl that was thrown in here with us 2 years ago? Listen, even if the caretaker is really trying to help us escape, we're still forgetting one thing. Diane then points towards her neck, which has a collar around it, similar to the one the Golden Fox used against us. As long as Jason and I are still wearing these collars, we won't be able to get out of here, Diane says. If we get too far from this place, the collars will electrocute us, and that would be the end of our escape. And we don't have but you don't have a collar. You're one of the rejects. If you really trust this man, then you could. No, Kate says as she almost shouts by mistake. You always do that. You always try to put your friends' needs before your own. I'm not going to let you do that now. We can all escape together, you, me, Layla, and your brother. I'm not sure just how much Jason would agree with this plan. Diane says, you know how he is. He never trusts anyone, especially if they're Lasethi. He was like this even before we knew about the test of loyalty. He barely even exchanges any words with the high-rank Lasethi we are sent to escort on a daily basis. The only one that he seems to get along with is the woman Meredith, their second in command. I don't know how she sees him, what he sees in her. He always tells me how she is different from the other high-ranked Lasethi, but for me, they're all the same. They're all what's happening here. They're not blind. They're all to blame. Diane, listen to me, Kate says. That caretaker is very skilled at tinkering with magical devices. I'm sure that he could find a way to free you of your collar. I will talk to him about this with the first opportunity, but you need to find a way to convince your brother to come with us. Can you do that? You're asking a lot of me, Kate, Diane says. If I tell Jason your story about how you came from the future, he'll think I'm insane. I'm not even sure how much I believe what you're saying. I mean, are you sure that it couldn't have been a hallucination of some sort? They've been feeding us really poorly lately, and no, Kate says, it's real. In a year from now, they're going to shut down the beacon due to lack of funds, and they're going to throw all of us rejects in the jungle to fend for ourselves. I wasn't able to save one of them. I can't let that happen again. I need to find a way to convince everyone. Just promise me that you try to talk to your brother. You don't need to tell him that I'm from the future. Just try to find a way to get through to him somehow. I'll try, Diane says hesitantly. Thank you, Kate says. I will talk to you again after speaking with the caretaker about the callers. I'm sure we'll be able to work something out. See you soon. Alright, Araka says as Kate walks out of the room. I took a quick look through the following events. I think it would be safe to skip the next part. I'll just go ahead and wait. What's the next part about? Oh, Araka says just some uninteresting stuff about her talking with the caretaker and him confirming that it's possible to take off the collar. It's a waste of time. But I want to see it. I thought it would be better to skip it then. Could you show me Diane's discussion with the brother instead? Huh. So there's no point in skipping it. I am actually, to be honest with you, I am actually in real life disinterested in this. I'm not that interested in listening to any of this. But let's see, it's just some interesting stuff about her talking with the caretaker and him confirming that it's possible to take off the collar. So that is a waste of time. Could you show me Diane's discussion with the brother instead then? I suppose, because I'm not exactly sure how relevant it's going to be, but at least shouldn't be a waste of our time. Complete waste of our time. Instead of scenery changing, this time we remain in the same room, but Diane is no longer standing where she was before. It seems as she has a new visitor. This person who is currently talking with Diane is a boy in his late teens, with short blonde hair, which I assume is her brother Jason. His overall physique is not very impressive, but the look in his eyes is much more mature than one would expect from a boy of his age. He looks like the sort of guy who is very confident in his abilities, who knows exactly what he wants. Just like his sister, he is also wearing a collar around his neck and he is dressed in rags. Diane, Jason says, I've told you many times before that you should take everything Kate tells you with a grain of salt. I know that she's your best friend, but that girl is way too trusting for her own good. And you put so much trust into people, it hurts much more when you inevitably get betrayed. Mark my words, one day she will get betrayed so badly that she will never want to trust anyone ever again. When that happens, you won't be able to tell me that I didn't warn you. So you're saying what? That she should be more like you? Diane says, ever since I've known you, I've never trusted anyone other than yourself. How is that any better? You don't say things like that, Jason says. You don't know that I've always trusted you. Even if the whole world betrays us, you and I will still continue to stay true to each other until the very end. That's the promise we made right before we were first assigned as elite guards to the Lacetti 3 years ago. You still remember that promise, right? Of course I do, Diane says, but do you still remember it? I've been telling you for years that Meredith is bad news and you should keep your distance from her, but you never listen. Why is it that you are so willing to put your trust in her when you've never trusted anyone in your life? I never said I trusted her, Jason says. She's just a means to an end, that's all there is to it. Besides, she is not like the other Lacetti. She has the potential to change things for the better. All she needs is a little push in the right directions. There are already many Lacetti who support her. I'd even go far as far as saying that there are more who currently support her than the ones who support the great leader Hexol. It's not by coincidence that she managed to become second in command. When she first started off, she was only a lowly secretary to Hexol, but she's been climbing her way up the ranks for 20 years, and she has made many friends during that time. I'm telling you, there will be a great change coming soon in the Lacetti world. I want to be right at the heart of it when it happens. I don't like it when you talk like this, Diane says. I thought that our goal was to escape this place. Why would we care about the Lacetti world and how they change for the better? Let them rot for all I care. I only want to be free of this nightmare so we can live the rest of our lives in peace together, all three of us. And we will, Jason says. But what I'm doing is for the sake of all of us, Kate included. You understand when you're older. You always say this, Diane says. What about Kate's plan regarding the Lacetti caretaker? Are you at least going to consider it? I'll think about it, Jason says. And if I need to get going, if I stay too much here, the guard will start to think that we're plotting something. Take care. Well, that was interesting, Araka says. Anyway, let's get back to the stuff that's actually somewhat relevant to this ritual. As soon as Araka stops talking, we get transported in a different room where Kate is currently talking with a girl that is has light brown hair, who appears to be around 15 years of age, just like Kate and Diane. She is dressed in some old tattered clothes. Her hair is less messy and she seems to be taking much more care of her physical appearance than the other two girls. She also has a pleasant smile and a charismatic way of talking, which makes me think she is the type who easily gets along with other people. Please, Kate says, you're the only one who can help me. The other orphans never listen to me, but I'm sure they'll listen to you. You always have a way with words and everyone trusts your judgment. You're also like a leader of sorts. You flatter me, Kate, the girl says. But this isn't an easy task that you're asking of me. Do you not remember what happened the last time we decided to trust one of the caretakers? The Lacetti chose to kill only one of us back then in order to set an example. But that could have been any one of us. They had no reason to choose Benjamin out of all of us. He didn't even stand out in any way. He didn't even say a word, but they simply kept beating him and beating him in front of us, and they wouldn't stop. Even after he was dead, they still wouldn't stop. We tried to escape again, and they catch us. I don't think they will settle for killing only one person anymore. This time they're going to kill all of us, and they're not going to show us any mercy. They're going to try to kill us anyway, the kid says. We're both rejects. When they're finally done experimenting on us, they'll throw us in a jungle and then leave us to dead. Leave us for dead.